Hey, this is Ryan with Yushu, and today I'm doing an update on my Truman Cognac Rambler boots. These are about 2 years old, and I wanted to show how they're wearing over time. I know a lot of people have asked about my Coach Rambler and how they're breaking in, and there's nothing interesting to report there. So these have more patina on them, and I have a better idea of how the Rambler leather is really conforming, really breaking in. So I thought I would do an update on these. These are the first time to this channel, and you cannot get the Cognac Ramblers anymore. So really helpful, Ryan, for dropping this video. But I still think it's going to be nice to go over how the Rambler leather does age over time. So we'll go over that. We'll go over how the sole is aging, how the sole is wearing in. I'll talk a little bit about the sizing of the 79 last, my issues with it, what I wear, how I got this one wrong, how I'm going to sell it now. And then we'll actually talk about how you can see really great photos of the Coach Rambler as it forms a patina, where to find that, and then the update on the brand itself. I know my last video about Truman, there was a lot of speculation. I think the air has cleared now, and we have a better idea what's going on. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Informal video. It's just, we're just hanging out, talking about some boots, and let me know if you have any questions about these. But let's get started with looking at the Rambler leather. So the Rambler leather looks incredibly dry, right? But look at that patina. Vince from Truman Boot Company was on Dale from Dale's Leatherworks, his podcast, and he said, just rock it. Don't do anything to the Rambler leather. Just don't condition it. Just use the leather, beat it up, let it form a patina, and that's what I've done. I haven't put any conditioner on this. I don't want any conditioner on it because I want it to remain like rustic, like this boot. It looks like a bomb went off and this was just like laying behind. But I think that's cool. That's why we like these super unique leathers. So no conditioning at all for 2.5 years, and the leather is fine. It's not falling apart. It's perfect. And this is the time when Truman actually didn't line their Rambler leathers. They line their Ramblers now. So it's fine. It's great. It is dry, but I think this is the way you should rock it. So one of the funny things that kind of developed over time using this boot was in the Rambler leather, you have this veining that's just really super cool, really unique. Love that. And then with some of the veinings, it like has made these little hairs. That part of the vein has kind of popped up, and it's made these little hairs or whiskers to the boot. Now, I think this is cool. I think this is a feature of the leather, not a downside to it, because it's not like it's cracked the leather or it's ruining the leather at all, but it does give the leather a little bit more character. It gives it like a furry look. Can you see how many times it's happened? And I think it's cool. I could easily just pop these off, but I haven't. I'm too lazy to do that. And then, once I figured I'd make an update on this video, I was like, I want to show you guys what's going on. Look how beautiful that boot has broken in. I mean, the 79 last is definitely not my favorite last for reasons we'll talk about in just a moment. But man, broken in, this last is just really, really pretty. Now, this side doesn't have as much of those whiskers or those hairs. I don't know if it has any, actually. Maybe a little bit here on the toe. You can see in that, where that had that vein, a little tiny whisker there. But just really cool. Again, I don't think you should condition the leather. These are bone dry, but that's how I feel it should be rocked. The Rambler leather is just going to be something different from your normal leathers that you want to like trying to keep hydrated. I'm just noticing all these new spots where the leather's kind of peeling up, but really great. This was of a period where Truman Boots were using like appropriately sized tongues, so that's broken in really well. I mean, everything looks really good on the boot, and of course, it's like, what do I expect is going to happen? The stitches are going to blow apart just by walking or something. Yeah, the boot looks great. Nothing is wrong with it. Now, I didn't beat these up. They might look beaten up because of the uniqueness of the leather, but, I don't use boots like that. I'm kind of a poser in that effect. And actually, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about it right now. Black Barn Social Club, he inspired me by comparing Truman's to like a heavy-duty truck, right? Like a heavy duty truck. And I think that is a great comparison. And I kind of want to expand on that a little bit by giving you my thoughts about the brand Truman and how it kind of sits within the ethos of heritage footwear, especially heritage footwear made in the United States. So I'm spitballing this, guys, so please bear with me. I thought about Ford. So Ford, an American company, good truck. Ford F-150 is like the most popular truck ever, right? So I'm going to use Ford as a comparison. Personally, I'm a Toyota guy. If you must know, I'm a 4Runner, Tacoma, Tundra guy, but we're going to talk about Ford. So I think it just compares a little bit better. So I think your Ford F-150, which is like the best seller, it's the boot or it's the truck that will give you everything you need basically for 95% of people. I would compare the Ford F-150 to a Iron Ranger boot, right? That boot, Iron Ranger, made in USA, it's going to do everything you need it to do. It's going to protect you. It's going to give you that cool look. It's going to be a great boot, and you're going to, come in at a relatively affordable price, right? Yeah, none of this is really affordable, but that is my thoughts on the Red Wing Iron Ranger at your Ford F-150. Now, a lot of guys, including myself, oh yeah, F-150 will do what I want, but I want an F-250 because it looks a little bit cooler and it's a little bit beefier. That is Truman Boots. Truman Boots is the F-250. Now, if you get their standard baseline F-250, that's like the Truman Boots on their, double shot leathers, or I don't know what they're called actually now. I probably should have researched that before, but just like their standard leathers that are in that like lower $400 range. And then when you go to like their cooler leathers, their Java Wax Flesh, their Rambler leathers, that's like stepping up to the F-250 King Ranch edition or something, if they even still make that truck. But so you can have kind of, it's overbuilt. It's some may need this for work, the thick midsole, all the beefiness of the Truman, but most don't. We just want a cooler looking truck. So this is the F-250. Not necessary, but awesome. A little bit beefier than the F-150. That is the Red Wing Iron Ranger. Next, you go to like the F-450s and 550s. They're just ridiculous. I mean, I guess if you're towing, there is some needs there, but those ridiculous trucks are only really needed by professionals that are doing some serious work. And that I would compare to like a Nix boot. So a Nix boot is a boot that 95% of their clientele probably doesn't need that boot, but they want a super overbuilt boot. Same thing with the F-450s. The guys who need it, your wildland firefighters, your line workers, they need that boot, right? They're the ones that need it, but most of us buy it just because we like it, and we think it looks super cool. So that's my comparison to the truck world. So I think this sits in a really nice spot in that F-250 range where it's beefy. It'll do everything you need. Overbuilt, you really don't need a boot built this well, but it's cool to have, and it's a great company. So there you go. Let me know what you think about that. And if you do like that, you should be subscribed to Black Barn Social Clubs, because he does more kind of just like talks like this where we're just having a good time talking about something in the style world. So how is the sole holding up? Well, I think Truman soles are really, really good. I don't know where they're made. It's a proprietary brand, but these have held up fantastic. I mean, I'm just getting a little bit of rounding over on the studs, which is to be expected. A little bit, is wearing down there, but this is a great sole. Whatever compound they're using, it's holding up well. At the very edge, it gets thicker, right? So that makes the stitch be a little bit closer to the edge. So that little bit of a stitch is wearing a little bit, but the stitches are perfect. The sole is great. Whatever they're doing at Truman, whoever's making these, they're doing a great job. The sole is awesome. And if you have a rotation, you'll probably never need to resole a pair of Trumans. If it's your one and only boot, yeah, you'll need to probably reheel it a couple of times before you even need to put on a new sole. It is a great sole. That's awesome. Okay, let's talk about a little bit of the sizing on the 79 Lass. I've kind of realized the 79 Lass is just not the Lass for my foot. Yeah, shocker, right? I know a lot of people have been talking about this on the internet about the 79 Lass, but so this is the problems that I have with the 79 Lass. So this is a 12.5. So I used to think I was a 13D, and so you would size a half down to a 12.5D. Come to find out now, I know that I'm a 13C, and that's closer to a 12.5D. So I got these in 12.5, which would technically, now that I know a little bit more about my sizing, is a true to size boot. So what that means is that there's a little bit too much room in the vamp area, but it still kind of pinches my little toe. So too much room in the vamp while still pinching my little toe because of the shape. That's not a great thing. Now my 12Ds in the Cognac Rambler, or in the Coach Rambler, sorry, my 12Ds, there isn't as much room in the toe. It gives me the fit that I prefer in the toe, and it still squeezes my little toe. So I'd rather have something that feels supported than something where I feel a little bit too loose in. So that's why I prefer the 12. I think it's the proper size, but this one is like, it feels a little bit too big here and it still squeezes. So it's just not great. And one thing that just kind of drives me crazy about the 79 last, and I have 3 boots in that last now, and they all do this no matter what size it is this thickness right here. With my foot, I get a big fat roll right here, and I get a big roll right here. So it's like, there's where my ankles, my little skinny, dainty little ankles, and then you have this big roll. So when you're looking down at the boot, it just makes it even look wider at the center. And I do like about an Iron Ranger how narrow the waist gets at the center. But see how that just like, it's just folding over, and it's all my 79 lasted boots. Spoiler alert, I just bought a pair of 56 lasted boots, and I'm hoping that is going to change that. And if it does, I'll be super happy, and it will change the problem with my pinky toe. So that is that. That's the fitting on the last. And then again, I prefer more of a combination last, where this is a tighter heel. This is more like a D width heel, I think. And it works. Because you have this nice curve here, it does still lock in my heel, but I do like a little bit tighter, but this still works. It still is fine for my foot. So let's just talk a little bit about how to see the Coach Rambler or other Rambler leathers, or any leather that you can think of, how you can see what it's going to look like once it forms a patina. So Jake from Almost Vintage Style recently got his first sponsorship, and it is with an app called the Patina Project. So because of Jake, he doesn't do much sponsorships, or that might be his only one ever. I downloaded the app, and that app is awesome. So you just download the app, and then in the search bar, you can type in Coach Rambler or Cognac Rambler or whatever leather you're thinking of. And then you have these guys and gals who have documented the patina on the boot. And they talk about the sizing, how it's wearing, what they've done with it. It is a must-have for a boot lover, or just any general high-quality leather shoe enthusiast, because you can see how things are really aging over time. The last couple boots I've purchased, before I've purchased them, I have gone on that app to see if there's any info on them and how the leather's doing, how the boot's breaking in. I just bought a pair of really expensive boots that have an unstructured toe, so I typed those in to see how that unstructured toe would collapse, and it gave me an idea of how that would collapse. So really great app. Go download that app. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm too little time to be sponsored by them, but I just think it's a really good thing to, see what you're going to get down the road with the different boots and the different leathers. Lastly, let's talk a little bit about the Truman brand. So my last one had the highlight, are they shutting down? So we know now they're not shutting down. They're basically just making another more affordable line of boots. Ash from Welted Wear, he did a nice video, and his speculation was Truman was worried about the Thursday Boot Company, like Black Series or whatever their new Challenger and their new Brawler and their new boots are made of. He was worried that they would be taking up part of his market share, so he kind of wanted to stir it up a little bit. But he's not going away. Truman's not going away. What they might be doing, or what they are doing, is they're prototyping more affordable boots that are going to be made, I guess, in Texas, and it's going to be more for like the standard like work boots. While they'll still have these boots, it looks like, at least with the nicer leathers, made in Oregon, and that will still be going. So Truman seems to be, as strong as it's ever been, and we're going to have them around. So no need to fear buy all their boots that are in your size on their website. Just keep an eye out on their new line that will be probably more competing with the Red Wing line, and even maybe more like that Ford F-150 rather than the Ford F-250 that you're getting with their current heritage boots. So that's my take on this boot. That's my take on Truman. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was like a simpler video where we're looking and talking about boots. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next one.